Hello, and welcome back to Drink a Little Lead with me, your music podcast dedicated to our songs. This is the fourth episode. My name is Ita, and today I'm having my friend Eleonor Martinez with me to sing and talk about three lovely Catalan songs by Montpou and Tundra. So welcome, Ellie. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So Ellie and I met 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, for the first time for the Miss Mohim Chamber Music Festival in Basel. And then we were actually put together by the festival. Yeah.
And then we played Rodrigo, right?
Mm-hmm. Four Sephardic songs. Yeah.
And then we continued playing in some chamber music in the school.
Ellie played my bachelor recital. I played 4 songs from the Mozart's opera Don Giovanni. And it was great already to work with Ellie since the first time, and I'm super happy to make these Catalan songs with her. She's from Barcelona, and please tell us more about you.
So as you said, I'm originally from Barcelona. I studied there my bachelor in Liceu Conservatoire, and then I moved to Basel to study my master almost 4 years ago already. And now I finished my studies and I stayed, like many of us. And I started singing professionally when I was 19. I won a kind of scholarship, Beca Bach, Salvat Beca Bach, and it's mostly based around the music of Bach.
Yes.
So I've sung quite a lot of early music. And
you're also part of one ensemble.
Yeah, I'm singing with Jordi Savall's ensemble Capella Reial de Catalunya, and others also as Herreweges, Collegium Vocale Gent, and the Zürcher Sing Academy here close, and others.
So you sing a lot of early music repertoires.
Yes, and mostly concert, so religious music, oratorium, and so. But of course, I really enjoy singing as well, opera and lied.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pleasure being here and finding this different way, kind of playing these songs with a guitar when I've sung it so many times, always with piano.
They were also arranged to orchestra version, right? Or only the Tundra songs?
From Montpou, I'm not sure. From Tundra, yes, he did himself most as different songs to orchestra version.
Mm-hmm.
But this cycle of Montpou, I've actually only heard it on piano and voice, usually soprano.
Yeah, I discovered it from one album. Was from piano and soprano. Yeah. They recorded many 20th centuries, let's say, folk songs and art songs mixing. There are some composer like Montpou who already wrote impressionism styles, classical music, but there are also many contemporary music composers such as Luciano Berio, Maurice Ohana, and Zad Multaka. They are more famous for writing new music style, but they have many beautiful folk songs in that album. Yeah, and thanks to that album, I discovered this. Wow. The first song that we played, Above You Only Flowers. Yeah, and since then the melodies really stay in mind, and I felt that I really have to arrange it for guitar.
Yeah, and it works amazingly. I really have to say that I never felt, oh, there is something missing here. It just gives another, vibe. Somehow it's a bit more intimate, but the song already is itself so intimate, and that somehow it works.
Yeah, I read that Montpou was a very timid, shy, introvert guy, and through his compositional career, he was more searching of this inner silence in his music.
Yeah,
and yeah, so I think this intimate character fits well with the simple instruments as guitar.
Yeah.
Not saying that the composition is easy, but simple in a way of it's a very singing melody and it's not super complex structure.
Yeah. It somehow tells so well this story of just recently losing someone and how you can feel so alone and empty, and suddenly you're just remembering this person who's not there anymore, and what probably the last time you saw that person with those flowers on top before getting buried, or I feel it's also very sad.
Yes,
song.
yes. You mentioned this, the feeling of plain, but also on the same time empty.
Yeah.
Within this song, can you describe more of this opposite?
Yeah, I think somehow when you are going through grief or loss, you feel so many things at the same time, or it's this path of changing those emotions. And how can you feel also so mad because this happened and you couldn't do anything to stop it, and then it comes the feeling of emptiness when there's nothing left, and there are only memories, and those can be very sad in the beginning, slowly turning into also kind of good, or you can choose what to remember from that person. But I really like in this song this both things and a desperate moment of if I would have been a flower to be able to
lie on
you
and go with you, and
yes.
This is really the, let's say, the climax part in the song. Also the whole middle part of the accompaniment solo was more with dissonance chords, and you don't really feel that which direction is it going. It's with the dissonance chords and in sequence moving. Sometimes it feels like it lands on some resolution, but then it goes again moving, and it creates this tension 2-3 times. And then brings to this part that you sings that if only I could become a flower, and then so I could be on your chest and then go with you.
Yes.
So Monpo took 5 of the poems out of 20s by this Catalan poet Giuseppe Janes.
Giuseppe Janes. Yeah.
I learned that they became friends thanks to Monpo's wife Carmen Bravo, and then they became very good friends in life, Monpo and Giuseppe Janes.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah, you know more about this cycle of poetry, so please tell us more.
Yeah, he wrote 20 sonetos, and then Monpo chose 5. And then once the cycle is played, like the whole cycle, which is those 5 songs, it's usually played in the order he wrote the songs. But I've performed it in the order of the poems. So you can create a story when this person is talking about the other person and he or she falls in love with, and how you go from thinking of that person and thinking of her, of him the whole time, and then sharing also a night with this person, and then unfortunately this person dies. And the last poem that I like to, or the last song I put in the end, is how the life for the person that is alive doesn't make any sense anymore, and he wishes or she wishes to be actually in heaven with that other person, that there is nothing else. So it's quite a dramatic cycle. It's complicated to sing it in a concert. You really need to choose the right moment to put it, because it leaves
very
you
dark,
devastated, and also for the audience to get this feeling of total desperation and loss and sadness and
I somehow appreciate composers or artists who dare to go deep into the, let's say, negative emotion, because it's also part of our life and what we will have to live in our lives, and that they dare to look in and also put it on the table. This is this. It's not like a taboo. It's
it's actually very nice singing of all the different situations in life. But of course, as artists, we try to make it look very real.
Yeah.
Therefore, you get yourself also in
Also
this feeling,
involved, very involved.
which is usually not compatible with singing. Some
Yes.
people, when are in their deepest,
Yes.
they don't start singing like. So it's nice also finding this balance of how much can you get involved and not start crying in the middle of the song.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but it's also very.
So you personally feel very connected or feel very moved from the emotion of it.
And you should learn how to let yourself go in or not too much. Then someone in the audience starts crying, and then you still have you keep yourself a bit far from it for it to work out.
I have the same feeling with the one piece, guitar solo piece by Gaspar Casado, and it's a lullaby that he dedicated to Andre Segovia, because Segovia lost his son when he was 4 years old, and it was a car accident, and so basically it was song like a lullaby to make this little angel sleep. And it's so soft, and even in each part it goes even more tender and softer and sweeter, and at the end with this light fluctuates going high, it's like the soul of the angel going up to the heaven, and then we stand there, and the last chord is like deep notes, and this is us, we stand here, and then we have to accept the separation somehow in our lives. Yes. And also this song, whenever I perform, I also have to keep the brain cool.
Yes. Yeah, it's always very complicated.
Be in, but
not to imagine, be able also to show it to,
yes, exactly,
to the audience, but
right, yeah. So the song that you said that usually starts, it's the one which called I Sensed You Like the Sea, right? Because this is the one that
I start feeling this person and falling in love, and this movement of waves or the sea brings me all those memories from that person that is great and amazing, and she or he is free, and it's a really nice song of how to get in that, those butterflies also on the stomach when you are freshly falling in love.
Yes, and you feel the butterflies. Yes, yes, it's exactly you said that's in the text. There is this part which describe the person. Yes, you are not the sea that is a prisoner, and you are not the wind. You have no limits, and no landscape could describe you.
Yeah, I think it's being over the top on seeing that god or goddess and falling in love with someone that is powerful and free.
But musically, we could feel also the resistance from the person. He's thinking that his or her lover is so great, but on the same time, he has this resisting from this desire. We see this by the Poco Hitenuto and a tempo figure, like almost everywhere. It's like one bar, a Poco Hitenuto, we have to resist a bit, but then in the second bar is a tempo again, we still fall into.
Yeah, I think it might be in that moment of being insecure and going or not going. What could it happen if I go? Should I go and tell this person I'm in love or not? It might be this.
And it's a particular song that of Monpou to have so many notes. With this accompaniment arpeggio, it's create this waves feeling, like the waves of the ocean that is described with the title.
Yeah.
It's also very huge, large structures, like
very busy.
Yes.
Very full of
emotion. Oh, what should I do?
Yeah.
It's a bit like that too.
The text also
suggested.
Yes.
Yeah.
It brings to that. So.
Many things happen in this song.
Je presentiva come la mani, come il vento immensa diura, alta damunt me tot atzar, I tot destí. I en el meu viure com el respir, I ara que tinc, que veig com el somni tenir vida, tu no ets un nom ni un gest, navigador. Com l'imatge blava d'un somni humà. Tu no ets l'amargues presonera dins de platges, tu no ets el vent pres en l'espai, tu no tens límits, no hi ha carmots per dir-te ni paisatges per ser el teu món. Seran
So we go on with April of Tundra. You have some words to describe this song.
Yeah, I really like this song. I think it's perfectly the words and the poem and the music matched completely on something very fresh and new and green and flowers, trees, girls. Yeah, Easter songs. I think it's really an April. It's showing what April is after winter and that first days of spring, and I really like it.
Yes, it's gives this very alive feeling.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's nice, and everybody wants to go to the street and celebrate those days that are finally getting longer. Yeah.
You also have your favorite sentence in these songs. So,
Yeah.
which is?
In català, the poem is pluja lenta i blanca de flors d'ametller qui cau de la branca quan l'oratjol ve. So it's a slow white rain of almond flower petals. That rain is falling slowly when the wind comes, and I really like it since it's so visual as well, and it brings me so many memories as a kid of finally seeing those flowers and the trees getting all those colors, and then that wind that comes and everything ends up on the floor. Yeah, it's somehow so fresh and beautiful. I really like how he chooses the word of rain, which is also a very spring word, but it's a rain of flower petals.
Wow. Yeah, and this part musically, it's also, I think the nuance dynamic it's in pianissimo, and then here we should take a bit more time, slower, like the branch moving very slowly by the spring wind.
And those little petals flowing, which also brings memories of weddings and people throwing petals when the bride and groom get out of the church, and somehow it's very delicate, intimate, and beautiful at the same time.
I also like how this one sounds naturally on guitar.
Yeah.
Of course, we had to choose another key. We chose it in D major, so on the guitar I had more open strings to offer the resonances and to support the singing voice.
Yeah.
But many chords really fall naturally under the fingers, and all this short articulation that he gives also fits quite well.
Yeah. And I feel with the guitar, it even gives more the feeling of a popular song, a traditional song, and somehow this song is talking about that moment where people also get back together and celebrate and sing those Easter songs. So I really liked how the guitar brings that feeling even more alive.
True, yeah. I think all this music cannot really be separated from the popular folk music tradition.
Yeah, it's really Tuldra also. He wrote many songs, and many songs that remind us of folk, popular songs.
Yeah, I read that he was a violinist and then an orchestra conductor, but he never stopped writing all his life. He wrote a lot of sardanes.
Sardanas. This is the Catalan traditional dance, or one of the traditional dances.
So I read that he wrote more than 30s, but the melodies, our songs, is the most cultivated musical genre that he wrote.
Yeah, I think if we think of a song composer, Catalan song composer, most of us think of Tuldra the first.
Immediately.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's got so many, and they are so nice built, and I think it's anytime I've sung them outside of Catalonia, people love them, and because they are easy to hear and they are fresh and they are very expressive also somehow and very reachable for the audience. So it's always a good option in a concert abroad.
Yes, I think melodies is really something that's the text and the melody and the harmony or the rhythm, the texture are all in one packed. And when it's really fixed with each other, it's a great melody to listen it over and over.
Yeah.
Even by the simplest things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also he chose many poems from that somehow explain very simple or quotidian things.
Very daily routine.
Yeah, I really like one of him as well, that talks about a Christmas market and how you go there with you're waiting for a boy is waiting for his girl to come with him into the Christmas market, and they are gonna buy some figurines that they are gonna put later at home, and you just start playing or singing, and it brings immediately that image of the Christmas market and all what's going on there.
Yeah, I think it's very nice when one understands fully the text, of course, by one's mother tongue language, and you don't think of how to make it expressive, but you tell the story naturally, and that makes the expressivity in this case.
Yeah, and that you know exactly the meaning of every word, and
how much nuance you give it.
Yeah. So it's really nice singing in your own language for once at least. Yeah.
Yes. You said before that it's not so easy to sing in Catalan language because it's more.
I somehow don't find it too comfortable. And I've talked to some other Catalan colleagues and singers, and they agree. Somehow the language is a bit more far back, and then to sing is not exactly what you want. So it's always.
You mean the vowels or the
vowels and consonants? Everything happen a bit covered, and to sing you don't really want that. Yeah. So it's always tricky to be able to sing in a comfortable way and still pronounce everything as it should be. Yeah. Every language has its own place of on resonance
pronouncing
and
resonance in the body.
so it's always how to find the way of singing it that is still close to the language but comfortable. And with Catalan it's always a bit tricky, even though it's the language I've spoken the most, and therefore I get the feeling that it's more in my body. Yeah.
Tremula riaglia da dia daurat, mantijol che caglia alla immensitat, palpitante i giova majestat d'abril, vestidura nova dels arbres. Sutil, diàfana i clara delícia del verd, amb qui el món suara de llum s'escobert, quan el fontinyó tremolant sentia la seva frescor, tornant alegria. Pluja lenta i blanca de flors de matiner, qui cala la branca quan l'oratge noies pels portals, finestra enramada, festes matinals, xopes de rosada. I passa l'abril damunt de Poncelles, xavós i gentil cantant caramelles.
So you sing a lot in a vocal ensemble and also quite a lot of opera productions and also leader. How do you feel that our song is for you?
Really think that it's a way of telling a story in a very compact and intense way. I think you don't have a lot of time to say many things, and somehow you want to tell this little story, so it has to have a beginning and an end. Not has to, but most of them have. Therefore, it's also very fast, the movement of changing your feelings, or I always feel it's much more tiring than opera, or somehow you need to change after every song the character, you need to change the emotions
and everything exposed in front of people.
Yeah.
We very often see singers between two songs, like they turn to the pianist and then they come back and it's another face.
Yeah, you really need to tell this story to that people. I'm being in that character, so I think it's very, very exhausting for your brain. But of course, so nice that you have people so close and you can tell them that story. Looking at their faces, and most of the time song recitals are in smaller rooms where you can have much more contact with the people, and therefore you make them also part of that and of all the stories.
You do mention also something about the same poems, but
different composers.
Yes.
Yeah, I find it very, very interesting.
Have you done this in one of your projects, or?
Yeah, I've sung the same poem. In that case was Ganymed, and by 3 different composers, which were Schubert, Hugo Wolf, and forgot the last one. But it was super nice comparing them and how every composer thought of that word in a very different way, and how the accompaniment on the piano is also very, very different. So the whole image of the poem is different, and melodies are different, and how it even goes in major or minor depending on where. It's really interesting comparing them, and it's cool.
This reminds me, there's one poem of Victor Hugo, Il est un charmant gazon, and it's written by Liszt and Fauré in a very different style. Also, the poem Il pleure dans mon cœur, the Debussy's one is very, very famous, but also other French composers took the same poems and...
Or Clair de Lune, also by Fauré and Debussy. You compare them and they are two different lunes, aren't they? Yeah, it's very nice. I guess that every composer have their own world, and they need to explain it in their way, and therefore, you also get to know a bit more of that composer, I feel.
When I play our songs, especially in the Turta one, it reminds me a lot of Debussy and Ravel, harmony style. Maybe Montpou more on this impressionism, that there is this color of flower, but it's a bit flu.
Yeah, and somehow very transparent, and you can really see through the music and get that image of what's going on, a bit blurry image of the whole thing. But
well, anyway, Montpou was highly influenced by the French compositional culture.
Yes,
I read that he, very young, in 1911, he went to Paris and he could study with famous pianists and harmony teacher, although he didn't get into the conservatoire in Paris. I read that he was inspired by Gabriel Fauré. One time Fauré was presenting his own composition and played himself the piece, and the young Montpou started to think, okay, maybe I also want to become composer.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's funny imagining how they all at some point met, or there were those circles you could enter and suddenly get all those ideas and then go back to your country and mix them with your own folk style.
Yeah, I once upon a time was very fan or a bit obsessed of this, and there is one epoch where all the great artists could get together, and then of their correspondence they could influence each other's, and
It's nice. I really like going to a cafeteria, sort of restaurant in Barcelona, where Picasso and others were meeting, and you can still see in some walls they kept some stuff, and it's really nice imagining how they might have met there and talk to
Picasso
what was happening, and
was definitely the cafe guy. He also went to a cafe in Paris and then meets everybody.
That's right.
Great. I'm so happy to have you here and to play all these lovely songs with you. Now we slowly come to the end. Do you have some upcoming projects or concerts that you want to promote, or where can we find you to follow your future artistic projects?
Well, I will be the whole summer everywhere, working in those different ensembles I do, and I'm also happy to be back in Miss Morin Festival next January here in Basel.
Amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's I'm slowly creating a website So I hope that soon I have also some more media than just the Instagram. But yeah, that's
So we can find you on Instagram.
yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being here.
Thank you for listening to us today. The next episode will be out next month. If you don't want to miss it, subscribe now to my channel. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends and listen to our musical tracks on Bandcamp. See you in the next Drink a Little Lead with me. Ciao!